My friends, greetings. We have been asking ourselves this question: what do you do when you don't know what to do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? Last time we saw that you have to assess the situation or evaluate the situation, evaluate your capacity, and then if you can do something, do. But if you cannot be able to do something, admit that you need help and then seek for help and do not be ashamed. Today, I would like to expound more on this topic. And I know there are so many ways to deal with this issue and this question, but I want to with it from the biblical perspective. In the book of First Samuel, chapter 30, from verse 1 onwards, we get a story of David and the men that he had raised from nothing. And one time they were coming from a place to their village called Ziklag. It took them 3 days. 3 days journey is not a simple journey. It must have been exhausting and tiring, and they must have been looking forward to getting home to rest, to be comforted, to rejuvenate, to enjoy time with the family. But upon arrival at Ziklag, the town was burning. Enemies had burned the city and taken captive their wives and their children. It must have been very devastating. A moment of not knowing what to do. Very devastated, because the Bible says they cried until they didn't have any strength to cry. Must have been very, very, very devastating moment. And now, it is normal and it is okay to cry in that moment. In fact, I would say, if it is okay to groan, it is okay to mourn, it is okay to cry when you don't know what to do. It is a way of bringing out emotions. But again, you can't dwell there. What do you do after you cry? And that is what I want to focus on. We see these men, the men of the David and his men, after they cried, all the other men ganged up and they started contemplating on how to stone David. What did they do? It was so unfortunate that all of them used the energy within. They built the negative energy and they started wrongly accusing David, blaming David for the challenge and for the problem and for the situation that they were going through. If you do not take care when you're going through, when you do not know what to do, going through difficult situation, you may find yourself accusing people that are not worth of accusation, blaming people that are not worth of being blamed. David had likewise lost his wives and children. His house had been burned down, and so therefore he was a victim. Yet all the others ganged up against him. Now, let us see the response of David, because he chose a different path. And that is my advice. Let us always take a different path. And the Bible says David was equally totally distressed because of the loss, and again because of all these men contemplating stoning him. But the Bible says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. And that alone is a big lesson. That instead of building up on negative energy, David took time to build up a positive energy within him. He took time to build up a capacity within him, a positive environment that he gave him capacity to know what to do. Negative energy is so destructive because it doesn't bring solutions, doesn't bring you to a place of knowing what to do after. But positive energy shows you the way out. It gives you the capacity to know how to deal with the situation. And immediately David encouraged himself. He built that positive energy. We see immediately after that, he inquired from the Lord. Because again, when you're going through the worst situation, sometimes we feel like you rush to a decision. And every decision that you make may be destructive. And David did not want to add up to the problem and to the pain. And therefore, after he encouraged himself, building up that positive energy, he wanted to be guided. In the times when you do not know what to do, make sure that every decision that you make is well guided. is well guided. For him, he sought help from the Lord for him to make a well guided decision on what to do. And therefore he asked the Lord, should I pursue? And when I pursue, will I overtake? Because he also needed assurance. It is normal to need assurance in a moment that you don't know what to do. And immediately God answered him and told him, go and pursue, you shall overtake and recover all. And we know afterwards he was able to go. Remember, one of the best things that he did after God confirmed to him that he shall overtake all and recover all, we see he went back to the very same people who were accusing him, and he regrouped them, because he knew that even in that moment he needed people. Sometimes when you don't are going through the worst, sometimes you feel like you do not want people. I want to assure you that in such a moment when you do not know what to do, you need God, but you also need people, because God uses people. He regrouped his men, and they were able to pursue, and they were able to recover everything. May God help us, for us to build up the positive energy within us, and not to make rushed decision or rushed conclusions, because they are so much destructive. Let us be like David, that he wanted to make a well-guided decision, and he came out a victorious person in that situation. God bless you so much.